Arlington.
You said yourself you're always learning, taking classes, for example, but football-wise, was there anything that stood out to you this offseason that you watched, or a certain coach, certain style that maybe tickled your interest a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know if we've talked about this, but, Georgia last year had a fair amount of veterans up front on defense, and I think that they are a creeper team like us, and so finding creative ways to rush four guys. And so whether it's a linebacker or a corner or a safety, some non-on-the-line-of-scrimmage guy inserting into the rush to attack a protection or to attack a blocking scheme. And, I think the thought there is to try to get more bang for your buck and play all your base coverages and do all the stuff you need to do. And so they, like us, are built that way. But then last year, with the amount of veterans that they had, or got experience coming back is probably the better word, for them up front, they rushed 5 more than they ever have. I mean, their numbers were way strong in that percentage. And I went through their season. And, it's interesting because I think they did it because of the talent and the one-on-ones, And so I've talked to Ron about that quite a bit, with our defense. It's like our ability to get those one-on-ones for guys, because that is a strength. And so, that's another way of looking at it. The way I gave earlier was one way of looking at the strength, and that is kind of, put more weight on the shoulders of the D-line to kind of, manage and let's matriculate the talent in the back end. The other way is let the big dogs eat.
Yeah.
And so that makes a lot of sense from Georgia. The other thing I would say would be Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and a fair amount of, Tampa, so cover 2, so true zones. And I think, college football has kind of come around to the true zones. And I think Ron Roberts has been there for a while. But, I think the rest of college football has kind of come that way. And, the NFL at the time, there was a time where the NFL was, hey, this is zone, this is man. And then I think what ended up becoming was match cover 3, and, whether it was Seattle Seahawks, this is kind of during their reign of is it, and then I think Saban had an impact on this too, of if it's a vertical, you're carrying it. If they're crossing, you zone it off. And is it man, is it zone? What depends on the route. I think some of that is really, it's now getting to more just man and zone. And so the vision that comes with it, and we're a huge zone team. You look at all the picks and everything we had last year, a lot of it was it's all zone. It's all vision, on the ball, breaking and playing a zone and a half. And so I think Tampa Bay did a great job at that with their Tampa creepers. I thought they were really, I watched Devin White a lot and was able to see a bunch. I watched through their whole season, and they did a great job of showing single high, getting to too high off of it, playing too high with a corner as a half defender. So there's a fair amount. I think, if you don't keep up with it, it'll pass you by way fast.
Do you pick the brain of former players? Like you mentioned Devin?
Yeah.
He can even sometimes not so much teach you, but kind of give you an idea what they were thinking?
Oh, no, yeah. He can teach for sure. I mean, Jacob Phillips is with Cleveland, Patrick Queens with Baltimore. And so, I think, just their experience and, how something is taught, even if it's something that maybe I'm familiar with, how they're teaching it or how they're responding to that teaching is so instructive. And so I think listening can be a superpower if you let it.
What's easier,